by. Camera 3 and cue red X.
4,
Cue replay on Y.
2,
Take camera
1.
7.
Of this game presented by ESPN Deportes. You can access it by using the SAP function on your remote control. Second year as head coach David Shaw at Stanford. Down below with Heather Cox. Let's go to Heather.
Brent, thanks so much. Coach, it's your first road start for your freshman quarterback, Kevin Hogan. What have you done this week to help him prepare for this moment?
Well, we've made some subtle adjustments, but for us, we're not going to change anything wholesale. You know, the things that he's good at, things that we've worked on that we want to be good at, we're going to call him and run him.
Oregon leads the nation in scoring. You guys have the best rushing defense. In your mind, what's the key to really limiting their explosive plays?
Well, the biggest open field tackling. We got to tackle him in space.
Coach, thank you.
David Shaw and Stanford won the toss. They did not defer. They want the football. They want Stephon Taylor and this offensive line to go to work against the Duck defense to find out who's healthy and who's not here tonight. Underway in Eugene. Fielded back at the goal line by Redmond Wright. Redmond with a big alley. Still going. And Redmond to the 35 with a fine return. And now that youngster that we've talked about, Herbie, Kevin Hogan, and he's a redshirt freshman from McLean, Virginia, back in the Washington, D.C. area.
Love to see a head coach with a first-time starter on the road and Kevin Hogan win the toss and say, Kevin, we believe in you. We're going to take the football, show the confidence that we have in you in this offensive line in this running game. As you said, they've got to be able to run the ball, try to take some of the pressure off of young Kevin Hogan, give him some easy passes as well here early.
He's a big fella, 6'4", 224 pounds. Outstanding running back alongside him and Stephon Taylor. Right away on first down, there's a high percentage throw to Terrell, and Terrell picks up a first down on the first play of the game, Herbie, as we take a look at tonight's impact players, brought to you by Avis.
Well, Stephon Taylor is going to have to take some of the pressure off of the young quarterback. Zach Ertz, 86, tight end. They'll flex him out as a receiver. They want to try to isolate him and get him one-on-one. We talked about Chase Thomas's leadership. And Ed Reynolds has become a ball hawk in the secondary. He's a young player, 5 interceptions on the year. He's communicating back there, the quarterback of the secondary for the Cardinal.
And it's a wildcat. Direct snap to Stephon. Stephon picks up about a yard before he is brought down by the Duck defense, so it didn't fool him very much on that first wildcat snap of the day. Alonzo, one of the fine linebackers, read it perfectly.
David Shaw and Pep Hamilton, the offensive coordinator, their key tonight is to give this Oregon defense as many different looks, as much window dressing to try to confuse them as they can. And again, try to open up some of those running lanes to be able to run the football.
Second and long. Hogan, who's mobile, throws to the outside. And that was complete to Zach Ertz, his outstanding tight end. He had a career day last week with 9 catches for 75 yards and 1 touchdown.
Eric Dargan there to make the tackle. Dargan 4 is in, of course, for Avery Patterson, who was lost for the year last week against Cal towards ACL. John Boyette lost earlier. So they have a bit of a depleted bunch in the back end. Eric Dargan's going to have to step up big tonight.
The first third down of the game for Stanford. And it's 3rd and 4. The rain coming down again here in Eugene. And sacked. Brought down by Lacombo, one of the fine linebackers.
Walked him up, Brent, as an outside linebacker, essentially putting him out here to utilize his speed. And I'll tell you, he does a heck of a job getting around with a spin move. David Yankee, who's one of the better offensive linemen in the Pac-12, that is a good sign for this Oregon defense.
Our first sighting of DeAnthony Thomas as Zaklinski is back to punt it. Let's see what they do with number 6. They're going to try to keep it away from it. It'll be short and out of bounds, and why not? Give it to Oregon at the 25 rather than risk a chance Number 6 going the distance. And now the young man from Honolulu's St. Louis High School, Marcus Mariota, and what a start he has had to his Oregon career when you look at those numbers, Herbie.
Yep, 6'4", 196 pounds, and just in complete command of this offense. Tonight, I think it's his arm is going to have to be on display for the Ducks offense.
Standing tall, completes the first pass against the secondary, and that was Lowe. Lowe making the first catch last week. Had a couple catches for 20 yards. He's a sophomore from Portland's Jesuit High School, and he's become a bit of a factor here in this offense this year. Second down and 4, and here's Kenyon Barner. Barner is stopped short of that first down by the Stanford D, so Stanford puts him in third down right away, but it's a very manageable third down.
And these linebackers are active, and they are going to have to be, especially against the run.
There they go without the huddle. The up-tempo quick throw to Anthony Thomas on the outside. Got the first down and pushed out of bounds by Thomas, the linebacker, number 44. Pushing number 6 out of bounds. He's so dangerous every time he touches the ball.
Tempo is always a factor, always something you try to prepare for. Stanford has worked their entire offseason on trying to get faster and better at tackling in space. It's all been building for this game to see how far they've come in that area.
And Josh Huff in from the Oregon sideline as one of the receivers. Option look now with Mariota keeping it, and he is thrown for a loss. It was read very well that time by Carter. Number 25 made the play.
Boy, they did an outstanding job of stretching that option play all the way to the sideline. Mariota didn't have anything to do, but eventually just almost give up on the play and just cut his losses here for a 4-yard loss.
I think on the second and long, Mariota spins away, but this is 3rd and 10, and this is what the Stanford defense, they'll settle for that all game long. As Shane Scove, who missed last season with that injury, comes up and makes his stop. So the defense of Stanford makes its presence felt right away.
Yep, doing a good job of being able to contain the run game up to this point. Now they lead the nation in sacks, so 3rd down and long. This is where they like to dial up their pressure.
They put 3 down. Marcus on the move, looking for a receiver, but he's got a long ways to run, remember, so he's still looking for a target. Sideline, out of bounds, has to throw it. That's a win for the Stanford defense on this series, no question about it.
Well, they did a good job of getting Stanford to 3rd down and long, and then Brent, by rushing 4, they had 7 back in coverage. They took away all the underneath routes. You can see the receivers trying to work to get into this area, but watch the coverage. I mean, he has nowhere to go. He rolls away from the pressure. The receivers are trying to work to get open, but all you see are white jerseys, and the freshman just had to throw it away.
High snap. Jackson Rice pulls it down. Terrell is back deep. Gonna let it go. Takes a Stanford bounce, and it'll be down round about the 29-yard line.
Go, Ducks!
Both teams have handled the ball, and we are scoreless. So we are scoreless in Autzen as we continue Dr. Pepper's road to the conference championships. Aerial coverage being provided by the MetLife Blimp. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. MetLife, I can do this. Kevin Hogan and the Stanford offense for the second time here tonight with a 1st and 10 on the 29-yard line. Ryan Hewitt is the fullback as they go to the power I with 2 tight ends. And Taylor is thrown back for a loss at the 27-yard line. And breaking in is Michael Clay.
Michael Clay is one of the more active linebackers you're going to see in the country. One of the more instinctive linebackers, 46. Nick Aliotti calls him the glue of this defense. He's been around a long time, and that time he's able to locate the ball carrier and make the play.
Second down and 12. Hogan is back, trying to scramble out and drops it off as he was going down. A beautiful save to Ertz that time.
And Brent, this is what he brings to the table. is the mobility. This is what was missing from this offense. You see Hart looks like he has him wrapped up, but the young freshman doesn't give up on the play, keeps it alive, and gives them a chance here on third down.
Herbie, the strength of that young man.
I told you before the game, I went down the field to take a look at him. You don't appreciate how big his lower body is, his legs are, until you see him in person.
He's looking at a 3rd and 5 right now, back in the gun. Finds the middle. Terrell off to a good start. Cross close to the midfield marker, I should say, out to the 48-yard line for a first down.
Brent, they brought the linebackers and vacated a zone. Good job by the offensive line picking it up, protecting the young freshman. He was able to locate his open man, Terrell, and that's a first down and a big one for the Cardinal.
Picked up 14 yards on that play. There's Drew Terrell, ace receiver, as well as a punt returner for the Cardinal. You can see the Ducks walking pressure up with the linebackers. And they run Stephon Taylor. Outstanding run for 12 yards and a first down.
Great block here by the big fullback Ryan Hewitt. Just opens this up. Keep your eye on 85. Going up against Michael Clay. He locks in on him. He's able to make a nice block. It frees up Stephon Taylor. And when Hewitt's making blocks like that, giving this back Taylor enough room, that's big yards for the Cardinal.
First down and 10 at the 40-yard line now for Kevin Hogan. Hands off to Taylor, and he's thrown for a loss. There is a penalty flag. He was thrown for a loss back to the 46-yard line.
Yeah, chop block here, Brent. It's like Kevin Dancer may have gone low on an Oregon defender while he was engaged already in a block.
So they'll bring it back to the other side of the 50.
Offense number 76. 15-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Kevin Dancer guilty. Jack Wood, our Pac-12 referee. Tim Schrader was the umpire who made that call.
You can see this. Alex Balducci, 56, is already engaged with the center, and then right there he undercuts him. It's a very dangerous block, and really a drive, potential something that could affect this drive. They're going to get all the way back to 1st and 25.
Wide receiver screen. Patterson, and the Ducks were ready for it. Here's an update from Robert Flores in the studio. Robert?
All right, Brent, Taco Bell studio update. Kansas State can clinch at least a share of the Big 12 title with a win against Baylor. They tie it at 7 when Colin Klein hooks up with Terrell Miller. Baylor had a kickoff return for touchdown called back. They're driving and tied at 7 at Floyd Casey in Waco.
So the other fine tight end for Stanford, Toilolo, brings the play in from the sideline. 2nd and 23. Draw play. Taylor picks his way. He's back to the Ducks 49-yard line, but this is still going to be 3rd down and long here for Stanford.
Every single time Taylor is going to get his hands on the football, he's going to see Clay and Alonzo.
And Herbie, the Cardinal without Anthony Wilkerson here tonight. He did not make the trip. So Stephon Taylor, who's number 1, Wilkerson number 2. Taylor's going to get a real full load here tonight. Ricky Steele and Redmond White are behind him. So here's your 3rd and 19. There is the escapability. He's going to take off, and this will still leave them with a 4th and 5 at the 35-yard line.
Brent, this is, again, part of the learning process, but when he scrambles, his receiver, Patterson, actually is able to escape the defender. This is what he does. This is what he's able to do. Keep the play alive. Look at the receiver get downfield. He sneaks behind the coverage, and if he was able to locate that, that might have been a touchdown for the Cardinal there on 3rd and long.
Now Shaw is going to play it conservatively. Football, much a game of field position. He doesn't want to give the Ducks a short field here on 4th and 5. So Zaklinski back into punt again. Hangs this one high, and it's going to be down inside the 10. So that was a very well-placed punt. And the Ducks offense will have to drive the long way if they expect to get on the scoreboard. But they've got the talent to do just that when you come back.
And UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
That was quite a road trip for our ESPN college football bus from Boston to Eugene. 3,122 miles. And let's thank the hard work of the drivers and the fellows who moved all the equipment. Stanley Pearson, Glenn Wyatt, Sean Harmon, and Matt Pohl. We want to thank them for getting here in plenty of time. Mariota back, and he takes off, and there's his scrambling ability. Out to the 35, breaks free. He's got great speed on that far sideline. One man to stop him, and he is brought down by Carrington. So one of the Stanford safeties able to get back and save a touchdown.
And this gives you an idea of what kind of speed this young man has. You think he might just go out of bounds. He's a quarterback, but no. He's thinking about taking it to the house, and if Anthony Thomas just turns around, I think he's trying to race Mariota to the goal line, but if he turned around, he would have been able to pick up a block.
So after 77 yards, flashes the pass to the outside for 7 more quickly as they come up and hit Will Murphy for the first time tonight.
Here comes the tempo. They get inside his 15-yard line. They're snapping it as fast as they can.
There they split the tackles out wide. Practice this all week. Read the defense. Throw the screen to the Anthony Thomas, out of bounds.
Called him down right where he made the catch at the 12-yard line. His right knee may have gone down as he tried to catch that low throw from Mariota. Trying to hurry. He tries to make this catch. He does. The right knee is down. It's a good call by the officials.
So it'll be second down. Now this will make it third down. So they absolutely good call by the official over there, Harvey, on that play to bring up now third down for the Ducks. It's third down and 6. Anthony just a little bit short of the first down marker, and so here comes the fourth down, and you know what he tends to do in these situations. Go for it on fourth down. Here we come. There's the signal to Marcus, ready to pull the trigger. Keeps it himself, and he's not going to get it. Stanford football, the gamble fails. What a play, and what a stand by the Cardinal defense after the 77-yard run by Mariota.
Watch Josh Morrow come down. That's the read. He pulls it, but what a play by Shane Skov. They practiced this all week with Derek Mason. The dive read was taken. He pulled it out, and Skov is there to save the day for the Stanford defense.
My. Look what we have here.
Customer Aaron Swenson.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
The Ducks and the Cardinal are scoreless. Baylor leads Kansas State 14-7. Notre Dame has already won. And Irish fans are all eyes tonight watching those two games. Here's Taylor of Stanford after the goal line stand, and he is thrown backwards.
Right now, Kiko Alonso, Michael Clay are just attacking downhill at the linebacker spot, trying to stop Stephon Taylor. They know with a young quarterback, chances are you're going to see him running the ball. And that time, David Yankee pulling around. He couldn't even really get started because the linebackers are coming downhill so fast to stop this Stanford running game.
You saw Eric Dargan, number 4. His hands are full. He's the third man out at that safety position. Hogan, quick snap throw for a first down. How impressive is this young man? with the start to this football game. I mean, this looked like a veteran throw right here.
It sure did. And look how he puts it right where Zach Ertz wants the football, right in front of him. Protects the football, uses his hands, and gets it across the first down marker. Great job, and again, the poise. We wanted to see Hogan in this environment as a young player. So far, he is keeping his composure, making good reads for the Stanford offense.
Kelsey Young will be the first back to replace Taylor. They swing it to him, and Kelsey's got another first in space. Out to the 43-yard line, and Jackson hauls him down.
We're so used to seeing Taylor back there, but when you see Young get his hands on the ball, and this showed up all week in film, he's got a different gear. We're used to seeing the Oregon Ducks get out in space and what they can do, but Young gives them that look as a freshman. He can accelerate in a hurry upfield, and all of a sudden the Cardinals were backed up inside their own 10. Now they're close to midfield.
Because of that 24-yard pass to Young. Now Taylor is back as the running back. He'll get the call. Big hole on the left side, and another first down as they barge into Oregon territory after that goal line stand.
And Oregon getting some of their own medicine. All of a sudden, Stanford is coming back with a counter punch. Kevin Dancer leading the way around. You're going to see a lot of linemen polling for Mike Bloomgren's offensive line, one of the most disciplined offensive lines in the country. These guys have really established a persona up front as an offensive line. They lost 2 to the NFL last year, and they really picked up where that group left off a year ago.
Hogan is 7 of 7 throwing the ball. And from the pistol look, he's going to throw for the 8th time, and he is now 8 of 8. And for an update, here's Robert Flores in the studio.
All right, Brent, Dr. Pepper conference update for the Big 12 from the home of Dr. Pepper, Waco, Texas. Baylor on top of #1 Kansas State, 14-7. Nick Florence, the touchdown run. Hey, stay with you guys on ABC, but watch this game with your Watch ESPN app. K-State and Baylor.
The clicker's busy, Robert. We're scoreless here in Eugene. 2nd down and 8 for Stanford. Here comes Stephon Taylor, perhaps the most underrated running back in the country. I'm going to tell you, he's going to be a good finisher in the Doak Walker competition as a top running back. His numbers compare so well with Kenyon Barner. I want you to take a look at this. That's right. That's what Stephon has accomplished. We've all heard about Kenyon Barner, a Heisman candidate. But look at that young man from Stanford over on the left-hand side. Believe me, Sunday football is paying attention to the senior from Mansfield, Texas. It's 3rd and 5 now. Standing tall, still perfect. Another first down as he hits Ryan Hewitt, the fullback. How about this start for Kevin Hogan?
And let's give an assist to this offensive line. David Yankee that time locks in at the left tackle spot. Look at the protection on 3rd down and long. Deion Jordan, one of the best pass rushers you'll see in the Pac-12. Yankee locked him up there on the left side, giving Hogan plenty of room to be able to operate from that pocket. Right now, Hogan is in a zone, and the coaches have done a really nice job of putting him there with the play calling and the designs of their pass plays.
Bring back Taylor on 1st down, barges into the middle, and he picks up 8 yards. Let's check it down below now with Heather Cox. Heather?
Brent, before the game, David Shaw told me he didn't see any signs of nerves, anxiousness, or apprehension in his quarterback. And this isn't a guy who shows a lot of his emotion, but his teammates say it is there. They have a mantra that is, don't get emotionally hijacked. And center Sam Schwartzstein said Hogan's the king of that, saying Kevin won't even take his helmet off on the sidelines. He's an unbelievably fierce competitor. In fact, David Shaw told me he has never seen Hogan without his helmet off during a game.
And he is right in the thick of things now. There's 2nd down and 2. Play action, looking deep. Going toward the end zone, triple coverage, dangerous throw right there. He threw into 3 Duck defenders that time. Toilolo, the tight end, was the target.
And that's when a young quarterback predetermines what he wants to do with the ball. He knew within kind of a goal line package, they've got 3 tight ends in the game, that he's thinking that on 2nd and short, Oregon's anticipating run. They're actually looking forward to the play action pass. And instead of just checking that down to Taylor in the left flat, who was all alone, he predetermined that he wanted to try to get the ball to Toilolo there in the corner.
So now it is is 3rd down and 2 following Hogan's first incompletion of the night. Hogan, receiver covered, in trouble, spins back, throws to a safety valve for a first end. 1st and 10 as Ryan Hewitt, the fullback, is on the other side. Hogan, Herbie was looking downfield. His man was completely covered.
You know, Andrew Luck is sitting somewhere tonight in a hotel watching this game, and he's just tickled to death to watch his quarterback work some of his magic. He starts to look like Houdini a little bit. He's going to scramble to his left. He comes back to his right, and who's waiting there is Ryan Hewitt to make another big catch for Kevin Hogan. Pretty good start.
Yeah, we'll change ends of the field. This presentation of Saturday Night Football, presented by Windows 8, will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
F1 drivers weigh in on Austin's new track. The story after the game.
1st down and 10 for Hogan. Ducks show pressure, play action. Hogan with that sprint stays up, complete. It'll be 2nd and 10. But scoreless, folks, at the end of the 1st quarter. That's a story involving the Oregon Ducks, because for the first time this season, they have failed to score in the opening quarter. As a matter of fact, in their previous 1st quarter, they have put up a total of 190 points in those 10 games. Now it is 2nd down and 10 for Stanford.
Stanford coaches talked all week about getting into the red zone and not settling for field goals. They want touchdowns down in this area.
Play action. Hogan, who's been tough to bring down, drops it in underneath to Zach Ertz. And Ertz will make this a manageable 3rd down coming up. Clay with another tackle for Oregon.
You can really see what David Shaw is talking about from Kevin Hogan. The mobility being such a good complement to what they do with Taylor. He keeps his play alive. He baits Jackson to him, or Washington to him, and then dumps it down to Ertz.
Now here comes the jumbo look. Here comes the tight ends and the extra tackle. This drive started back on their own 7-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3 with 1 wide. White is into the backfield. Keeps it. 1st down. Kevin Hogan.
Oregon on the quarterback keeper.
And again, we're going to talk all night about what Hogan can do. He can throw it, but the fact that he can bring a play like this and be able to pull it out of there and come off of Wright. Wright is a guy that you're going to see coming in for Taylor from time to time. He pulls that out of there. The defense collapses down, and he shows you again enough of a leg strength to get the 1st down.
Now Stephon is back into the game. He'll line up behind Hogan and Hewitt, the fullback. 1st down and goal. Stephon cuts back beautifully to the 1-yard line, and it'll be 2nd down and goal from there for the Cardinals.
Then is this vintage Stanford or what? 14 plays so far on this drive. 92 yards. Remember that big goal line stand? The stop that they had to be able to start this drive off. They sure have taken advantage of it after the defense came up with those big plays.
Lee Ward, another of their fullbacks, checks in to give them still another blocker in this situation. So it'll be 2nd down and goal. Taylor, the go-to running back. Play action. Hogan looking to throw. Keeps it. Busts a tackle. Dives. Touchdown. Stanford. Kevin Hogan, the first to score here tonight in Eugene.
This kid is off to a great start for Stanford. And what they looked to him and what they tried to plan all week. 2nd down, the confidence. He's trying to find Zach Ertz in the back of the end zone. Knows when to abort it, come off of it, and then utilize again the athletic ability with the linebackers cleared out of there and gets it across that goal line.
Jordan Williamson to attempt the extra point. Zaklinski, the punter, and Holder put it down, and it is, I don't know who's happier right now. I don't know. Stanford fans or Notre Dame fans. I can't tell. And all fans of the SEC will be watching this tomorrow night to see where we stand. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. We had a penalty.
On the receiving team, 15-yard penalty will be enforced.
Unsportsmanlike conduct is going to be the call because of the head coach, Chip Kelly, on the far sideline while you were away. He was very upset with this officiating crew, and he continued the debate. The referee, he's complaining that an illegal lineman was downfield for Stanford. So the penalty will move the ball to midfield for this kickoff. Kickoff will go out of the back of the end zone.
Well, the Stanford defense off to a great start in the first quarter. Brett mentioned how they were able to hold them scoreless. It was a couple big plays early. Shane Scove has been all over this field. They're in the open field, being able to make a play against Mariota. And then on fourth down, we saw Josh Morrow collapse down, took the running back. Quarterback Mariota keeps it, and there's Scove again on fourth down that eventually got the ball back to Stanford and opened up that drive where we just saw put the touchdown up on the board.
Now, that's what they accomplished coming in to this game. Rush defense. Remember tonight, they have given up a 77-yard run to Mariota, the Oregon quarterback. And he hands it off this time to Kenyon Banner. Look at Scove, the second man in on that play. Look at him jump to it and read that play. What a good-looking linebacker.
Brent, he has not had the kind of year that they were hoping coming off the ACL from a year ago. But right now, really, the defensive line is occupying the Oregon blockers. They're not letting them get to the second level, and it's freeing up Shane Scove to be active and all over the field.
Second down. Mariota in the pocket, trying to run out of trouble, still trying to find an open target, couldn't, and threw it away. And now we'll come to third down and 10 against this Stanford D.
It's the energy of the Stanford defense. They don't come up with a sack here, but they do a good job of pressuring Mariota, flush him from the pocket, and end up making him throw the ball where nobody is open downfield.
Here's a third down snap. Huff. First down and a penalty afterwards. The line judge threw the flag.
Talk about an arm strength from Marcus Mariota. He's from one hash all the way close to the numbers at the bottom of the screen. Third down and long, he had to put that right on the money and throw it on time, and he was able to do it.
After the play, personal foul. Defense, number 6. 15-yard penalty will be enforced to the end of the play. First down.
That's the corner, Terrence Brown.
Just towards the end of the play, gets his hands up into the face. Huff already has the first down. Brown's just trying to be aggressive, but gets his hands up too high in Huff's face.
I'll say to that. First down and 10. Mariota with an option. Here's Barner. Thomas stretches him outside, and down goes Barner on that play, who has not been able to find daylight. A.J. Tarpley, the linebacker over there, on the play also.
Just some confusion by the Oregon wide receivers. Nobody picked up the freshman Carter. He just ran by 2 Oregon wide receivers and was able to make that play.
Second down and 13 now. Herbie, they're keeping him in second, third, and long.
Winning first down. That was their goal. They had to win first and 10 tonight.
Thomas creeping in. Barner bangs into the middle, and this will still be third down and long as Anderson makes a stop.
The interesting thing and the challenging thing for Stanford's defense will be they know as well as you and I do. It's one thing to hold Oregon for a series or two. You got to do it for 4 quarters. That's the challenge for them tonight. We've all seen Oregon be contained, and then boom, they explode. But this Cardinal defense, they've been on the field the last couple of years against them, a lot of these players.
Third down and 9. Mariota throws far side, out of bounds. Lowe was the target over there on that far side and misfired a little bit. And the Ducks are going to be forced to punt. Here's Jackson Rice again trotting onto the field.
How about that? one way to stop this Oregon offense is if you have success. That ball's thrown on the money is just maybe thrown a little bit too hard there for Lowe to be able to secure the football. But you get him those 3rd and longs and you've got a shot.
Terrell back deep. Beautiful punt. Bluffs the fair catch. And it'll roll into the end zone and come out on the 20-yard line. Stanford with the lead in the football when you come back.
Moss and the new Buick Verano Turbo.
Well, it can't come to Eugene without talking about one of my favorite comedies, Animal House, which was filmed right here at Oregon. The scenes at Dean Wormer's office were shot in the office of University President William P. Boyd. And folks, we got a story regarding the Stanford band. Double secret probation. Oh, look at this, Herbie. Look what we've got. All right. I've got the iPad, and we're keeping an eye on this Baylor Kansas State game right here, huh? 14-7 it says right here. You've been, huh?
You got your Watch ESPN app.
You got to move quickly. You're watching.
Right? Baylor's up on Kansas State.
That's right.
Stanford is up on Oregon.
Right.
SEC fans are pretty happy right now,
yes, they are. If 2 of them lose, you know.
Yeah.
Now here's a handoff now to Taylor, thrown back, ripped down by Coach Aliotti's defense here.
Well, the freshman Eric Armstead gets in there, and this is what Oregon's tried to enforce all week, is just trying to get penetration. As much as Stanford pulls their linemen, they open up some seams to this offensive line, and Armstead is a true freshman, 6'8", 280 pounds out of Sacramento. That time he made a heck of a play.
Second and 13, and a bad throw that time. Probably the poorest throw of the night as he overthrew his target Patterson.
Well, he's been on the mark so far. What we've seen of him, you've got to be very impressed. He's making good decisions. He's scrambling to keep plays alive. When he does scramble, he keeps his eyes downfield to find receivers. What I love here is his strength. He pulls out of some tackles to eventually make this play and get into the end zone. He breaks a couple tackles there.
Herbie, listen to this Autzen crowd. They're trying to lift up their ducks. Stephon Taylor, high stepping, 25, and close to that first down marker, but didn't get there. And I'm sure that David Shaw will send the punting team out.
Pretty good effort there on 3rd and 13.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about Coach Shaw. You know, his daddy was an outstanding coach in the National Football League, and Shaw spent many years in the NFL as an assistant. A lot of talk about Chip Kelly and some fellows. I'm going to tell you right now that a sleeper as far as an NFL head coach is concerned is David Shaw. I've been very impressed when I've been around him, and he runs that power football that the Sunday fellows like. Oh, the return man let it go over his head back to the 12-yard. DeAnthony should have stepped up and at least made the fair catch on that punt. Folks, so far things are not going the Ducks' way. That's a 62-yard punt. Well, we'll take a look at the Pacific Life game summary. And Herbie, as we look at the stats so far, what stat jumps off that page at you?
Well, if you look at the bottom, Oregon would tell you it's no big deal that Stanford has nearly a 10-minute time of possession advantage. But the way I'm watching this game right now, anytime you can have Chip Kelly's offense on the sideline, that's a good thing. Something that also doesn't show up there, Stanford has 15 runs, 14 passes. Really balanced here early in the game.
That's DeAnthony Thomas motioning out. Mariota throws on first down. And out to the 34-yard line with that is Colt Laurla, the outstanding tight end from right here in Oregon.
The fact he's from Oregon, he's a fan favorite. He's a running back in high school. Gives you an idea what he can do with the ball. once he gets his hands on it, he's still learning the nuances of the position, but he is an outstanding receiver. Very soft hands.
Mariota hands off on the end around. Look out! DeAnthony was just a defender away from breaking the distance, but Ed Reynolds, the safety, took him down.
First time we've seen DeAnthony Thomas get to that second level, he or Barner, and have some speed and accelerating into that Stanford defense.
Reynolds is a youngster out of Florida. They come back with him again for another first down, and now a steady dose of Black Mamba.
And you can just feel it. If you've watched Oregon over the years with Chip Kelly, you know what I'm talking about. The momentum, the energy. Stanford knows that this has been coming all week. Let's see how they respond to the speed and tempo and the energy right now of Oregon's offense.
They motion him out of the backfield. Marcus fires complete to the 40-yard line, picks up 4 yards with Tarpley making the stop.
Scove and Thomas get most of the attention. Even Trent Murphy this year has had a big year, but I really love the looks of the sophomore A.J. Tarpley. Real aggressive in the inside.
Another Cox sends up word is raining harder than it has all night, and DeAnthony Thomas is stopped just short of the first down.
Chip Kelly's answer to the way this defensive front has played is he's trying to get the speed of DeAnthony Thomas to the outside, run away from that interior of the Stanford offense and give him, or defense rather, and give him a chance to get out to that second level on the perimeter.
They stop him on third down for a loss with Henry Anderson. Big Henry Anderson. He's a redshirt sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. And he stopped the attack, and there's no question about what Coach Kelly's going to do here. It is fourth down, but instead of fourth and 1, it's going to be 4th and 4. And Mariota and the offense, Thomas creeps up. Brings pressure incomplete. Stanford takes over. They've stopped Chip Kelly's offense twice on 4th down tonight. What is wrong with the Ducks? It's the Stanford D. It by a touchdown, and Herbie, here comes your Aflac trivia question. Cue the Duck. Entering today, what school has the fewest 3-and-outs on offense this season?
All right. We got a 1 in 120 chance here.
First down and 10. And they fire it to the outside and Kajust.
We've seen Marcus Mariota look a little bit like a freshman tonight for the first time. Here's Trent Murphy, the big outside linebacker. He's going to collapse down. What Mariota wants to do here on 4th down, look at the matchup. He's got his tight end right here going to the flat. Scove is trying to stay with him, but he feels Murphy. And because he feels Murphy, he gets rid of the ball, and the ball floats on him. We've not seen him make these kind of mistakes all year. That time on 4th down, it cost the Ducks again a first down.
Second down and 8. Hogan under pressure, steps up, takes a blow, fires deep, and incomplete. This is a courageous freshman. I want you folks to watch how he reacts to this heat.
Both linebackers fire. Lonzo Clay hits him right as he throws the football. See it in real time, you might have more of an appreciation. That's part of this offense. We saw Andrew Luck do that for 3 years. You've got to be willing to sit in the pocket in this offense, off the play action game, step into a throw, knowing a linebacker's coming at you, and try to get it downfield. He did it right there. At least he threw it away.
On 3rd and 8. Hogan fires, and if he gets a spot, there's a penalty flag. Did not get the spot, but there is a penalty flag thrown on this play.
Zach Ertz.
Holding. Defense.
That's first down.
10-yard penalty from the previous spot. An automatic first down.
I was going to say Zach Ertz was turning the official, indicating that somebody was holding him here on his route. He's ISO'd. Echo Prelo Ekprelimu is locked on with him and actually grabs onto his jersey. And the official saw it, so it would have been short of the first down, but instead they get their first down. Stanford just kind of catching some breaks here on the road, a big underdog. You got to do that to be able to win.
First down and 10. Play action. Hogan looking, firing deep. Incomplete. It'll be second down. Well, Herbie, did you come up with your guess?
I've got to say Oregon.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I started the research. I thought it was going to be Oregon, but folks, look at this. Fewest 3-and-outs on offense this season, okay? Baylor. Oregon is tied for 25th. Baylor, 21. Kansas State, 7. Fewest 3-and-outs in the country.
Wow. They must not be having many tonight either.
It is amazing, Herbie. I honestly thought I was going to come up with
Nick Florence.
Oregon. Here's Stephon Taylor trying to pick the daylight. What great vision he has. Picks up 8 yards. Let's go to Robert Flores for SportsCenter right now. Robert?
All right, Brent, it's brought to you by HP, and Baylor has extended their lead on #1 Kansas State. Nick Flores, second touchdown of the night. This one to Terrence Williams, once again on ESPN or on the Watch ESPN app. #1 Baylor leading, or Baylor leading #1 K-State at home.
And here, Robert, 7-0. Stanford upsetting the #2 team in the nation, the Ducks. 1 and 2 are in trouble. Notre Dame enjoying the action tonight, and so is the SEC. Taylor could not get the first down. He was ganged up on. So it's going to be 4th down and short now for David Shaw. Remember earlier tonight he elected to play field position against the Ducks, but let's see if he keeps that offense out there. So far the offense stays on the field. He likes what he's seen with this offensive line. Schwartzstein is the center.
And this is where the mobility of Hogan also gives him an option for a quarterback, whether it's a bootleg or some kind of quarterback run. That's always there with 8 under center.
Wright is the running back. That full house look. He keeps it. Throws. Drop. Oregon ball. Oh, not so sure about that, Gamble. I know the man was open, Herbie, but if you misfire, you give the Ducks good field position.
You sure do. And Hewitt is right here. And look at the power formation that they use, and they just slide Hewitt by. Watch the Oregon linebackers who've been collapsing all night. They go right up with the play fake, and he just short-armed it. He was so open, the easiest throw that he had all night, and he tried to be too perfect with the ball, and he ends up short-arming it, throwing it well short of Hewitt, who would have had to really make a great catch there to be able to catch that football.
Now they've come back with Barner as the running back in this formation for the Ducks. Play action. Mariota in trouble, dances away, still dancing, fires open man Huff, far side, Huff first down, and more. Still going, barging across that 40-yard line, Josh Huff, the junior from Houston.
Watch the feet of Mariota. Very quiet feet for an athletic young quarterback. He sits in the pocket, finds his receiver.
Quickly, before the chains are even set, the Ducks come right up and bang with Barner for 9 yards. It'll be 2nd and 1. And this is what giving Oregon field position can do to you in this situation. They're challenging now, down by only 7 points. 2nd down and 1. Mariota stands in the pocket, stands tall, end zone, touchdown. Keenan Lowe, the sophomore from Portland's Jesuit High School. And the Ducks are an extra point away from a deadlock after the 4th down failed for Stanford. Here comes that look on the extra point where they spread the field. After every first touchdown, we've seen this. Maldonado is the kicker tonight. He'll bring everybody back together again. Jackson Rice. Deadlocked it. Ricocheted in.
Oh, call that.
Hello. That's the push-ups. Hasn't had much of a workout tonight.
It's been a quiet night for the Ducks so far.
Rob Beard with the ball on the tee. He'll handle the kickoffs tonight. Maldonado, the extra points. Fielded at the 1-yard line by Stanford. Young twisting and throwing out of bounds. Thrown out of bounds, I should say, but there's a penalty flag at the 18-yard line.
During the run back, holding number 24, the return team, penalty half the distance to the goal, first down.
Brent, the most impressive thing about Mariota here is the way he ends up going through his progressions. He's going to look off to his right, and he's just almost just setting it up to be able to see what happens on this play. He looks right, watch his eyes work all the way back to the left. He looked here, and then eventually comes there. He hit his 4th progression for the touchdown.
All right, things are starting to move the Ducks' way now. Stanford backed up on the 10-yard line. Stephon Taylor has it taken away by Hogan. And Hogan, a strong run out to the 24-yard line. And some of you are wondering, down Stanford way, why didn't they go to a play like that instead of a pass on that 4th down? They gave the Ducks a short field, and 59 yards later, we've got a tied football game.
We'll see what they can do with these last 3 minutes. They went with a zone read to start the play. You're right. That would have been a great call on that 4th down and short. Deion Jordan collapsed down in the back. Good read that time by Hogan.
Stephon Taylor behind the right side of that offensive line. Danzer and Fleming are over there. And a reminder that coming up on the Capital One halftime report, John and Jesse will have all the day's big highlights. And there were a ton of them involving the Irish in South Bend today.
Oregon's going to call timeout here. See if they can maybe get the football back. It happens fast. You know, Oregon, they catch a break, bang, they put points on the board.
Aerial coverage being provided by the MetLife blimp. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. MetLife, I can do this. So here we are, Herbie, the big picture tonight, and the Irish safely in the W column. Kansas State, #1, having a lot of trouble at Baylor. Now here, the Ducks have pulled even with Stanford. They're at home. That's a big comfort zone.
It sure is. And this game, it's far from over. And Stanford's doing a heck of a job. But the last 2 years, you and I have both called this game. We've seen Stanford compete in the first half, and then things get carried away in the second half. The second half, we knew all week that was going to be the key. Stanford's shown that they can compete with the Ducks for 30 minutes, but can they do it for 60?
2nd and 7, swing pass, and the receiver fell. Stephon Taylor slipped and went down. Remember, it has rained most of the day, quit before the game, and now it has been raining throughout the first half here. And Taylor goes down, and that leaves them in 3rd down and 7.
And this is where Andrew Luck and the offense the past 2 years was so good. I mean, he managed things. Obviously, you see him now doing it on Sundays. And his experience was great. And that's where Hogan will hope to get one day. But still being young, it still kind of handcuffs and limits what Pep Hamilton can do as a play caller.
Takes it away from him just at the last moment. Still running. Hard to bring down. And finally, the Ducks surround him at the 29. And down goes Hogan.
Time he read the freshman DeForest Buckner. Again, zone read. It's an added wrinkle to this offense because of his athletic ability. He pulls it out. He makes the right read. And then once he gets out there, I'll tell you who made a heck of a play was Terrence Mitchell getting off of the block by Patterson. He forces him back to the inside. And there's the rest of the Ducks to be able to hold him short of that 1st down.
So we've got a timeout here on the field prior to the punt. The Anthony Thomas is going to be going back, and Daniel Zaklinski is the Stanford punter. Now you know what Chip Kelly wants to do in this situation. Get the lead. Choke down here before the end of the half. He sees a very important opportunity. He sees that things have swung in his direction, and he wants to keep him there. He's got DeAnthony back. DeAnthony made a bit of a mistake on the last punt. Let's see what he does on this one. This one takes a Stanford roll, and it'll be stopped at the 13-yard line. Well, tensions are at their peak down Homestead way with NASCAR. Final race, Brad Keselowski trying to hold off Jimmy Johnson. Final race, and folks, if he finishes 15th or better, this is Keselowski now, he'll win his first chase. So they are down Sprint Cup race Ford EcoBoost 400 at Homestead tomorrow at 1:30 on ESPN. You might want to check that out. See if the youngster, who's got a bright future, can do just that. They will try to get him safely home in that top 15 and win the chase. And we get word that Baylor is winning the chase against Kansas State. They put up another one, and that's an incomplete pass right there. So it is 2nd down and 10. It is 28-7, and it is getting real serious down there in Waco right now.
It sure is. They're not even to the half yet, and Nick Florence and Baylor having their way with that Wildcats defense. Remember, Ty Zimmerman, one of their leaders in the secondary, is not playing. It puts a lot of pressure on some of these younger players that have to step up, and that's a good offense that scores a lot of points, and they're doing that tonight so far to Kansas State.
They were working on Hogan's hand down there on the Stanford sideline, and the Ducks, Varner is forced out of bounds after picking up a couple of yards. So here comes 3rd down again with a nice play by Reynolds. Yeah. This is, you cannot give this defense enough credit.
You can, and to hear Derek Mason talk this week about how this is a game that they've wanted. They felt that they've improved athletically in the secondary. They felt that this defense has good knowledge of what they're asking them to do, and for at least 30 minutes so far, they've played very well.
They're down at 8. Far sideline, complete but short of the 1st down.
And all you hear is, can they tackle in space? And with the exception of a play or two here or there, they have done that. Terrence Brown that time makes a great play.
So they're going to have to send the punting team out. Chip Kelly did not get what he wanted.
No.
And now Stanford has an opportunity here with a couple of minutes to go.
3 timeouts left.
They've got Terrell back deep for this punt. Jackson Rice, he's getting a workout, well, probably a greater workout than he's had in any first half this season, huh? As the punter. Terrell with that fair catch at the 39-yard line. 61 yards away now for Stanford.
One of the plays earlier that maybe people might either overlooked or didn't see. This is earlier when Mariota got loose on a scramble, and it looked like he might not just run and get some yards, but maybe take it all the way to the house. But safety Carrington, Devon Carrington, actually uses this effort to eventually chase him out of bounds and hold him short of the end zone. They eventually had a goal line stand, stopped him on 4th down, and it led Hogan to get the ball back, and down they went down and scored their only touchdown. But a great effort by Carrington to stop them.
On 1st down, Hogan fires high and incomplete that time as Zach Ertz was coming across, and for the 6'6" junior, it was still a touch high. Second and 10. Hogan fires into the middle. This will bring up a 3rd down. Toilolo, the target. He goes back to the 2 very talented tight ends.
Pretty good target at 6'8", 265. Stanford smart. Work a little clock here. Not to be in too much of a hurry in case they don't pick up the 1st down.
That's Toilolo getting his position adjusted on this 3rd and 3. Fires on the slant, coming across, and Ertz breaks the tackle and goes to the 40-yard line, where it'll be a 1st down, and we go to Robert Flores for an update.
All right, great. Baylor continues to extend their lead on #1 K-State. Glasgow Martin, the 2-yard touchdown run. However, the Wildcats are 2nd and goal.
And we've got an interception here. It is picked off. So the Ducks Eric Dargan, the third safety up. He replaced John Boyette, and then Avery Patterson. He comes up with the interception with 42 seconds remaining in the first half.
Now Hogan, the ball slips out of his hand and goes high over the tight end Zach Ertz's head. And Dargan's just sitting there, almost had to call fair catch for that football. So the Ducks catch a break, see the ball just kind of slide out of his hand, floats over Ertz's head. Dargan sitting back there in center field makes the easy interception.
First down and 10 now. The Ducks will try to strike as quickly as they can. Low goes down. They quickly come up. Now 34 seconds. They've got one timeout remaining. Mariota dances. Gets it off to a lineman, I believe.
Yeah.
That was Kyle Long. That's Howie Long's son, the starting left guard, who wound up with the ball here. Howie's in attendance with Mom tonight. Of course, this was senior day. Kyle Long was introduced, so we've got there. There is Howie. Oh, man, he looks good in green, huh? Terry Bradshaw and the guys will have to talk to him tomorrow about showing up in all green. The Oakland Raiders will wonder, Howie, where's it? Great Hall of Famer. And doing a terrific job as a broadcaster. And there is Kyle Long, 6'7", 311 pounds. He is a senior, folks, but they are going to appeal and see if they can get an extra year for him. So it is possible that Howie Long will be able to make 2 senior nights in a row. Just saying.
Nice. Yeah. It's great to see Kyle Long. Things work out here in Eugene for him. He is an athletic young man. He was playing tackle. They moved him to guard, and he's really settled in well there at left guard.
There's third down and 7 now for Mariota. Fires middle. That's intercepted. Picked off at the 28-yard line by Stanford, and they've got it back. That was Tarpley, A.J. Tarpley, the linebacker, who picked it off.
And he sits back and just reads the quarterback's eyes. He's right here, 17, just settles back in the zone eventually, and I don't think Mariota even saw him. He was looking at Thomas crossing, and I think he lost sight of 17, A.J. Tarpley, who just read his eyes, that led him to the football. Both offenses a little sloppy here at the end of the first half. Who would have ever thought we'd come into Autzen Stadium and it would be 7-7 at halftime?
How many points do you think would be scored tonight?
Combined?
Yeah.
50, 60 points?
Oh, 70.
70? Sure.
You
know that's not better than me.
Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Brent, thanks so much. Coach, after the interception, what's your message to your young quarterback at halftime?
We're just trying to get it down the field with 15 seconds to go, so we don't care if he throws a pick right there. We're just trying to see what we could get. They were dropping into coverage. So.
Yesterday, you emphasized concern over Stanford's linebackers. How do you neutralize them in the second half?
We just got to keep slugging away. They're a good football team. We knew it was going to be a 60-minute game, so we'll come out the second half. We'll get in the ball. The first drive's important for us.
Chip, thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's send it to the studio. John Saunders and Jesse Palmer for the Capital One halftime report. Take it away, John. Brent football presented by Windows 8, Eugene, Oregon. Pac-12 showdown between the Oregon Ducks and the Stanford Cardinal, and we are tied at 7. So a surprisingly low scoring first half here, Herbie, and you really wonder now if Stanford can go the distance against the Ducks.
That's the challenge. They've been outscored in the second half 59-14 combined the last 2 years, so they know that it's a 60-minute game. The key play, I thought, and I think you would agree, the fourth down call is the play. They had exactly what they wanted. Hogan has Hewitt slipping out of the backfield. He short arms it. The momentum switched. Mariota makes a great throw to the backside. The low comes off to his third, maybe even his fourth progression, and they got the Ducks going a little bit with the momentum.
Down we go to Heather Cox. Heather?
And it's interesting, Herbie, that is exactly what David Shaw told me. He said we can't turn the ball over, whether it's with interceptions or on down, saying that play, when they didn't convert on fourth down, was the key play in the first half, and that's when Oregon got their touchdown. Defensively, he said we've got to do a better job really filling in those gaps, and he said simply their quarterback is special. We've got to bottle him up in the second half.
Heather, you look a little dry down there as we start the second half.
I don't know about that. Looks are deceiving.
It has rained throughout much of the evening, but it is expected to cease here somewhat in the second half. And by the way, the fewest first half points the Ducks have scored this year prior to tonight, 13 against Arizona. Went on to win that one 48-0. So here we go. Stanford, remember, won the toss and took the football, so the Ducks will have it to start the second half. Here comes DeAnthony Thomas coming out. He's got to look out. He's in deep trouble, and waits, picks a seam, but then he's crushed at the 10-yard line. As we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary.
And Hogan making his first start on the road as a redshirt freshman, for the most part managing the game, doing very, very well for himself. Marcus Mariota, you just have that feeling that he's always on the verge of exploding. A decent first half, but at the bottom, Kenyon Barner only 15 yards rushing for the Ducks.
That was Lancaster, a linebacker, who unloaded on DeAnthony, and they come right back with the quarterback keeping it on 1st and 10 with a nice gain here to make it very manageable with 2nd and 3rd down coming up.
Read Ben Gardner there and came off of it, picked up some nice yards there. Oregon's offense, that one long run of 77 yards, you eliminate that, and again, we've talked all night about the job that Stanford has done on defense.
And again, they did not score after that run. You weren't with us. Stanford's defense stopped them after that 77-yarder. Now here's Mariota on the move again, and he picks up a first down before he's out of bounds. Outstanding athlete from St. Louis High School in Honolulu, a school that has produced so many great college football players.
That's the risk you take when you send the blitz with A.J. Tarpley and he doesn't get home. The linebackers, that time we were trying to see Trent Murphy at 6'6", 260 make a play in space. Too tough.
Barner stretching to the left. So there are the Mariota family right there. There's his father, mom, bundled up there with a blanket, and younger brother to the right of her. And of course, when you come from Honolulu, this is just a touch crisp here tonight in Eugene. 2nd down and 7 coming up. To Barner again, and down he goes as A.J. Tarpley. Has he been active? He's had an interception at the end of the first half, made several fine open field tackles.
He gets off this block. He's been doing it all night, really all year for this defense. So much attention paid to Scove and Thomas and Murphy. I said earlier, I think A.J. Tarpley at this point in his career, kind of an unsung hero. Perfect form, sheds his block, and then wraps up the ball carrier.
Out of Plymouth, Minnesota. Stanford team from all over the country. Now Barner trying to stretch the defense out, and he will not. Thrown for a loss, and they are forced to punt because Alex Carter.
Brett, watch him set the edge on this. That's what we talked all week. Can Stanford set the edge as a defense, contain the speed of Oregon? Carter as a corner was not going to allow the Oregon back to get outside of him. He does a great job of pushing it back inside, and not only that, he makes the tackle.
So Terrell back deep to return this punt from Jackson Rice. Beautiful punt. Terrell from the 28-yard line, and he is down. Fumble, loose ball. Ducks jump on it. Oregon ball, 1st down and 10.
Now the mistakes. Terrell this time trying to make something happen. He may be down. They're going to take another look at this. The linebacker, Derek Malone, jumped on top of it. They might want to take another peek at this to see if his elbow might have been down or the knee is down before the ball comes out. Yeah, that right knee is down, looked like anyway, before that football came out. They may catch a break.
So it is definitely under review. It's sort of interesting during the halftime intermission. The replay fellows were walking outside, Herbie, and they said, well, it's been very quiet here in the first half. Not so quiet right now. I mean, they've got a big decision to make in a tie football game right now, is to see that right knee does appear to be down. I would agree with that. And that would mean that Stanford would keep possession.
Keep those boys on their toes here in the second half. I think that looked like a pretty easy call to me. The right knee looked like it was down.
Pac-12 officiating crew. Of course, if Oregon wins here tonight, they'll host the Pac-12 championship game. Stanford will come up on November 30th on a Friday night. Oregon next week has to go the Civil War. Mike Riley and Oregon State have done a fine job this year. That game is nearby in Corvallis. Aerial coverage tonight being provided by the MetLife blimp. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. MetLife, I can do this. So instant replay. Running it back and forth here a few times before they send down their final decision. The Fighting Irish with a big win over Wake Forest, and they'll try to close out their undefeated regular season next week in the Los Angeles Coliseum. And Herbie, you and I will be on hand for USC and Notre Dame. And while we're talking about scores and great rivalries around the country, the Montana State Bobcats are to be congratulated tonight. They beat the Grizz 16-7, and so for the Bobcats, 10-1.
After review, the runner was down at the 30-yard line prior to losing possession of the ball. It will be first down for the receiving team at the 30-yard line.
We certainly agree with that call.
Yeah, right call. Stanford, remember, they won the toss to open the game. They took the football, and Oregon gets the ball to start the second half. The Cardinal defense do exactly what they did in the first half. They forced a punt. Now let's see what Kevin Hogan and this Cardinal offense can do.
Press coverage by Aliotti, the defensive coordinator. The corners are up snug. Here comes Stephon Taylor. What a good-looking running back he is. 13 yards for another Stanford first down before Michael Clay can bring him down.
8 men up at the line of scrimmage, and that's feast or famine. You're either going to do your job and get him for a short gain or a loss, or you're not. Again, Ryan Hewitt with an outstanding block. The right side of that offensive line locks up on their man. And Taylor, all he needs is a little bit of a crease. With the patience and vision and power that he has, great way to start this drive.
Taylor slips away from the linebacker Alonzo. Battles his way back a little bit shy of the original line of scrimmage. So this will be second down and long. Buckner cleaning up, but Alonzo slipped through there initially.
Well, he was almost in a sprinter's stance at the snap. I mean, that's where the play action game comes into play and trying to find the tight ends. When Kiko Alonso and Michael Clay, as the ball is being snapped, are running downhill to stop Taylor, that's when you're going to see the Stanford coaches start calling the play action game.
Second down at 11. On the move, drops it off to Taylor. And Taylor is wrestled down at the 45-yard line. This will bring up about a 3rd and 7.
Aliotti, defensive coordinator from Oregon, he's a very aggressive defensive coach, and he knows with Kevin Hogan back there as a freshman that they've got to take some chances to try to get them to 3rd and 8. There he is in the glasses there right in the middle. Get him to 3rd and 8 and then get creative. Try to confuse the young quarterback into some mistakes.
See all those water bottles, folks? I'm going to tell you a story here in a moment. 3rd down and 8. Firing in underneath, no first down. Stanford forced a punt. That was terrific defense by Brian Jackson again. Jackson, one of the safeties for Coach Aliotti. Well, you remember when Oregon won the Rose Bowl? That's right. The day after that, Nick gave up chewing tobacco. He's been pretty much a lifetime chewer. He quit cold turkey. But he said, now I'm the most hydrated coach in America. Walks around with a water bottle. Instead of chewing tobacco, he's always sipping that water.
Yeah, anybody who can cash in the water or the chew for the water, you'll take that any day.
Isn't that the truth? D'Anthony is back deep, going to let this one go, and it goes out of bounds. This is going to go out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Oregon with dangerous field position. You're watching ESPN Saturday Night Football on ABC. We welcome you back. Autzen Stadium, Eugene, Oregon. Stanford 7, Oregon 7. Ducks favored by 3 touchdowns. As we continue Dr. Pepper's road to the conference championships, and you can see what a difference it has made. The comparison is this Stanford defense, and it is anchored by a young man who's not getting a whole lot of credit, but we're going to talk about him. He's number 99. He's the nose man. He just shaded over, and as he did that, Kenyon Barner exploded for 9 yards behind the blocking.
And Stevens and also Josh Morrow kind of slanting to the right, guessing wrong that time.
Now that time they did not, and then Barner did the rest. But Terrence Stevens has been causing the middle of that offensive line all kinds of problems. If you remember the triple overtime a year ago, won by Andrew Luck and Stanford, it was Stevens who jarred that ball loose, which was recovered in the end zone in overtime for a Stanford win. He's a major nose tackle. Play action. Mariota fires back to the middle, and a beautiful catch by the tight end, Colt Laierla.
Good patience again by Mariota starting to his right. He's done this a lot tonight when he's had time. It's amazing to see the patience that he has as just a young quarterback in this system. He doesn't panic when his primary receiver is not there.
Almost intercepted. Almost picked off on the pass. And
when Murphy drops back in coverage, I think he was thinking big Trent Murphy at 6'6" might be collapsing down. He just kind of sits there with Laierla and goes up. Now he's 6'6". Climbed the ladder there, shows you what kind of athlete he is there.
2nd down and 10, and that time Grassu, the center, did a great job of cutting the nose man. And that is some battle in the pit. Mariota high and incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down. Richards back defensively for Stanford.
And I think Stevens, Henry Anderson, Ben Gardner, Josh Morrow, they all deserve a lot of credit up front. Because not only are they trying to get penetration, and they've done that tonight against Oregon, they're also doing a good job of occupying those offensive linemen. And we've seen Scove, Tarpley, and Thomas making a lot of plays because of the work they're doing up front.
Now Stevens, for example, is from Maryland. Look at that push that they got on that, and he gets a pass off for a 1st down to Murphy again. That's Will Murphy out of Albany, Oregon, for the 1st down, and here comes that tempo that Chip Kelly likes to run. Fires to the far side. Murphy. And there is a penalty flag thrown on this play.
They're talking about the formation here. See if they had enough.
After the catch, personal foul, leg whip, offense number 11. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. Replay 1st down.
That's a wide receiver, Addison. Yeah. That's a freshman. Out of Texas, and a fine prospect, and he was guilty of the leg whip, and this is a very costly penalty as it brings the ball back to the 33, and the Ducks have made for them uncharacteristically here in Autzen numerous mistakes here tonight. They have shot themselves in the foot several times. And the down marker has to move. So clear across the field, the head linesman
anything that
comes back over to get that marker moved. And now we're still trying to clear up what down it is.
Anything that slows down this Oregon offense frustrates these fans. They want the ball snapped. Let's go.
The foul occurred during the previous play. The previous play was third down. We will be replaying third down.
So they had marked a first down for the Ducks. That's what that last stoppage was about, and he can't believe it. He said they had a first down on the play. So the down marker is a third down right now.
Yeah, it's first down. They threw a pass to Will Murphy for a first down to set up the next play.
It was a first down play on that last one, confirmed by our statistician.
I don't know how third down came even to play. There's first and 10.
There is the mark on the field. You can see it right there. It says 1st and 10. So there's no question about this.
The previous play was first down. We will be replaying first down.
So we get that straightened out, and here we go. Ball is back on the 33-yard line. Stanford and Oregon are tied at 7. Baylor 35, Kansas State 17. And Irish fans are starting to celebrate. Mariota keeps it. Tries to get it back to a manageable second down here before Richards can bring the quarterback down.
Well, the way Stanford's penetrating and locking in to Kenyon Barner and D'Anthony Thomas, it puts more and more on Marcus Mariota's ability to run and throw tonight.
He's going to throw this time. He's going to drop it off to Kenyon Barner, and Barner steps for the first down.
And there's nobody out in the flat. Break the coverage here. Momentum actually to nickelback. He's coming up here to make the play. He should have been out in the flat.
Here they come now. They want the up tempo the rest of the way on this. Skove powers through on Barner and throws him for a loss, and that slows the Ducks down.
Yep. How about Henry Anderson as well? The coach has told us the last 6 games, it's as good as a defensive lineman has played for Stanford against the run as they've had. He's doing a good job that time, a big part of clogging up that middle of what Oregon's trying to do in the inside of their running game.
D'Anthony Thomas swinging to the left, beats Skove, gets back outside, and he's down at the 40, and A.J. Tarpley can move. One of the other things that I'm impressed by him, not only can he tackle in space, but that rascal can move.
He's got great speed for his size, 6'2", about 240 pounds.
Here is third down and 4 now for the Ducks. Wide open. Laierla for a first down at the 26-yard line.
Nice touch throw here by Mariota. He throws it over Tarpley, and Laierla is an athletic guy who can get behind the linebackers, and he does it there.
They set the screen on both sides of the field. They flash it to the left and Lowe. Lowe is forced out of bounds, but a big gain. They used that play, and it was not successful in the first half, but they come back with it here. This is part of the game plan. Set 2 screen passes with linemen out to the right and to the left. Second down and 4. Mariota complete. First down, Huff. At the 6-yard line, it'll be first and goal for the Ducks.
Buys just enough time there and gets away from the pressure. Josh Huff, healthy now, does a good job of coming back to the football.
D'Anthony Thomas, play action. Mariota fires, incomplete.
And Debniak applying the pressure. The outside linebacker. Stanford doing the best job that they can of rotating bodies, trying to stay fresh. That was part of their plan to defend this tempo of Oregon.
No chance here because the Ducks did not substitute. Kept the same personnel on the field. Second down and goal. Now Mariota checks over the sideline. D'Anthony Thomas. Chick knows he's got 10 seconds to deal with. They get the play called. Inside handoff to D'Anthony Thomas. Oregon leads for the first time tonight. Maldonado. Ricocheted the last one. This one a little cleaner. Ducks 14, Cardinals 7. Oregon goes 95 yards in 16 plays.
Pepper 10 bold calories, 23 flavors. And Nissan, innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation that excites.
Do you like the Oregon Pinots? Well, that's the King of State winery here. 1,000 acres, and they make some great wine southwest of Eugene, Oregon. I want to remind everybody tomorrow it's NFL countdown, and the gang will be a little bit short-handed. Mike Ditka will not be on hand, but he's recovering from a mild stroke back in the Chicago area. We get word that Mike is recovering very well and due to be back in Bristol a week from next week. Mike, a lot of folks wish you well tonight, my friend. So we're looking down on the scene here in Autzen, Oregon. And the Ducks wound up in a dogfight with Stanford, but they have taken their first lead 14-7 with 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Beard will kick it off. Fielded at the 5-yard line by Wright. And Wright scrambles out to the 27-yard line. Irving.
What a job Oregon did getting the football, and they needed to come up with a drive. Marcus Mariota did a nice job of being able to distribute the football, at times making some runs, but a lot of times just trying to find his skill people out in space. And Mariota also did, I think, what a lot of people have seen all year, and that's just settling down in the pocket and letting his athletes around him make plays. And what a jump cut there by D'Anthony Thomas, sliding between the center and the right guard. And the Ducks get that lead, 95-yard drive.
Empty backfield. They flash outside to Young. And he's to the 40-yard line, and there's a fumble. Battle for the football. Oregon recovers, and look out.
See if
Preolamu recovered it, Herbie.
He sure did. He does a good job of fighting that football loose. In fact, Ray, it's not even close. Young's not even close to being down. Oregon's defense fighting to get the football. He puts his helmet right on the ball. It comes out. And this is where Oregon gets you. They get a touchdown, they get a turnover, and now here comes the tempo of Marcus Mariota and this Ducks offense.
Kenyon Barner back on the field. Stretches to the left. And he crosses the 35-yard line before Skov makes a stop for the Cardinal.
Well, they put so much pressure on these linebackers because they flow to the perimeter. They flow outside. They get you thinking about things outside, and then they'll run the ball right up into the middle.
Wide open. And that's going to be third and very short. Now they're going to give him the first down. I thought for a moment that the spot might not be good enough, but it is just across the 30-yard line for the Ducks. Pump fake. And they've got another first down in the red zone this time. And Darrell Hawkins now making an impact on the game. And there is a penalty flag thrown back at the 35. We'll see if this is holding.
And the referee threw this flag.
The Ducks are backing up.
Holding offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, second down.
That's the right guard, Ryan Clanton. He replaced the veteran Carson York, who was lost because of an injury.
What Chip likes to do is stretch you horizontally with these formations, and the beauty of having a quarterback like Marcus Mariota, he can run and he can throw, and so you get stretched out wide, then they run wide, and then they throw those quick passes out wide, then they pump fake, and they go downfield to try to find a vertical seam.
First down and 20. Mariota comes back to the far side and pushed out of bounds is low.
They'll kind of dink and dunk to the perimeter, get you to lock in on that outside stuff, and then that's when they'll slide somebody right by you, because your eyes get lulled to sleep a little bit, worried about the quick passes to the outside.
Second down and 16. In trouble. Eludes the rush for the time being. It's deflected. Incomplete. Stanford with a crack at that ball on the sideline.
They've been chasing him. When they get him outside of the pocket, Brent, there's Murphy right there. Marlowe starts it. Murphy doesn't give up on the play, but there's our guy, Tarpley again. The ball bounced off. It looked like the left shoulder pad and went straight up into the air. The Cardinal almost came up with the interception.
Well, we're taking a look at tonight's UPS efficiency update here on the Oregon quarterback. With his passer rating on third down. There's the handoff to Barner. And he is stopped. And let us see if Chip Kelly opts for a field goal here on this fourth down. He failed at a couple of fourth downs in the first half.
It's almost painful for Chip to send the field goal unit in, isn't it?
It is.
He wants to go for it so badly.
But here is Alejandro Maldonado out of Colton High School, California. Trying to put the Ducks up by 10 with a 42-yarder. Rice puts it down. Off to the right. Is it going to curl? No good.
How about that stop by Stanford's defense after the turnover? Big time.
Cardinal with a golden opportunity when you come back.
Presented by Vizio.
Oh, we welcome you back to Eugene. First down and 10 for Stanford, trailing by touchdown after that missed field goal by the Ducks. Redshirt freshman Kevin Hogan handing off to Stephon Taylor, and Stephon Taylor picks up 7 as we head to Robert Flores for SportsCenter right now. Robert.
All right, Brent, it's brought to you by HP. Glasgow Martin has 2 touchdown runs for Baylor as they lead number 1 Kansas State 35-24. Kansas State answered this touchdown with one of their own, but they're still trailing. You can see the game on ESPN and on your mobile device via the Watch ESPN app.
And here, the number 2 team in the country, Oregon, leads Stanford by a touchdown. Number 3 Notre Dame already wanted to throw off his hands. Toilolo. And he's dropped a few passes this year for the Cardinal when you look back at the tapes of all the games that they've played. Third down coming up now.
Brendan, it looked like the umpire that time may have gotten in the way of Toilolo trying to catch the football. He's right there in the middle of it. I don't know. Trying to bail him out a little bit.
He should send you a thank you note. Third down. Roll the pocket. Hogan on the move. Fires. Incomplete. Terrific defense by Brian Jackson.
Well, these safeties had to step up in this game with Avery Patterson out, and they played well. Jackson comes in late and knocks that ball away. Zach Ertz had both his hands on the ball. It's their top wide receiver, top tight end on the team. Has it, has the first down, and Jackson at 5'10" knocks it away from Ertz, who is 6'6".
D'Anthony Thomas back deep again. Zaklinski is set to punt. Dropped. And a penalty flag comes flying as he picked it up at the 18-yard line, but the field judge threw the flag as it went down.
Chase Thomas wasn't even close to the returner, so you, I don't know if it's a push in the back, possibly. The thing about this crew, Brent, they seem to get together on almost all their calls. Thomas is coming downfield to stop DeAnthony Thomas.
Well, they're back in Oregon up, so they're going to call a push.
During the kick, personal foul. Number 1 of the receiving team. Penalty will be enforced. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And I happen to be watching Josh Huff live. He went deep into the Stanford bench, making a block, and after he got him deep, the defender deep into the bench, he went after him again.
Explaining the situation over on the side, it was against him. That backs the Ducks up inside the 10-yard line. DeAnthony going in motion, and they're going to throw to him in the flat. And he's going to get forced out of bounds by Jordan Richards. And Richards is a safety from Folsom High School, California. Now this is Oregon's 6th drive tonight, starting inside their own 15-yard line. So they have not had excellent field position. They did certainly on their first touchdown back in the first half. So it is now 2nd down and 10. And Barner running wide is forced out at the 11-yard line. Crowd wants a flag, and they're not going to get it.
I'm surprised they didn't get the call there. Terrence Brown, Brent, went well out of bounds here, making this tackle. It's one thing to make, you got to let go at some point. I mean, he's 5 yards out of bounds and still trying to make a tackle on Barner.
Third down. And now it is 4th down. No interference is the call against Terrence Brown again.
Change of direction is big for any corner, and Brown does a good job of anticipating this, expecting a shorter route, comes back and knocks that football away. The crowd thinking his left hand got in there, but that's pretty good coverage by Terrence Brown.
Now, Terrell is back. Oregon will be punting out of its own end zone. So Jackson Rice is backed up. Stanford down a touchdown. It's returnable. Up the middle to the 49-yard line. Well, a reminder now, we head to the final of the NASCAR Chase tomorrow in Homestead, Florida. 1:30 on ESPN. Brad Keselowski needs to finish 15th or highest. He'll wrap up his first cup. Jimmy Johnson stalking him just in case the youngster fails tomorrow. It's at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN. So here we go now. 14-7. Oregon leads Stanford. 2:33 to go in the 3rd quarter. Pressure coming. Taylor to the 44-yard line on 1st down.
Brought both the linebackers, much like they have most of this night tonight, and the line and the fullback picked them up. Nick Aliotti rolling the dice with Clay and Alonzo, and Ryan Hewitt has been a busy man tonight on picking up Alonzo and Clay on a lot of these blocks.
Hewitt is in front of the running back. The fullback look. Here comes Taylor behind him. Big hole on the left side. And he manages to pick up a very big 1st down.
Great vision. Kind of set that up. He pressed it. Came back to the left. Kevin Dancer. He's kind of setting this up. Goes to the right. Knows he's eventually coming back. The right guard pulled around Kevin Dancer. And the flow of this offense with Hogan feels better under center. They can run the ball. They can run their power game. They can go to the play action pass off of it.
Dargan and Jackson, the 2 safeties for the Ducks. 1st down and 10. Draw play. Thrown for a loss. Taylor could not get anything going because Dion Jordan, off the injured list this week, made the play.
Too slow developing against the speed of this Oregon defense. And, you know, it's easy to say from up here, boy, he grabs it, he locked on by the wristband there. Whatever it takes to pull him down. But play action on 1st and 10 with an aggressive defense running downhill can really not only pay off, but it could slow down Oregon's defense.
2nd and 12. Patterson goes out far wide to the right. He throws outside to Montgomery. Montgomery's 3rd catch of the night, and he's forced out of bounds on the far side. That's going to bring up 3rd and long here for Stanford. This is a very, very important play call for the Cardinals.
They've had some success tonight getting Zach Ertz split out. They've thrown a quick slant to him twice for a 1st down. This time he'll be in the slot to the left.
They're going to come the running play, and it breaks open for Taylor. Fumble! The Ducks say they've got it, and they do. A turnover at the 20-yard line.
Ekpre Olomu again forces this fumble. He did it earlier when Kelsey Young had the football, and this time he's involved. And this is a rare thing. You do not see Stephon Taylor fumble the football very much. He did it last week in the game, and now we see it again. Contact, ball comes out. The Ducks once again capitalize on an opportunity. 3rd turnover tonight for Stanford.
That was textbook. Ekpre Olomu just got into him, and now Mariota comes up with it. On the move. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10.
Another good play there by Terrence Brown. The game's not over. We still got another quarter to go. But Stanford's through 3 quarters of football. They talked about being faster in the perimeter. And for 3 quarters, we have seen that. Terrence Brown out there making plays. We've seen A.J. Tarpley. These guys are flying around.
Barner to the 25-yard line, and here comes about a 3rd and 5 as we come to the end of the 3rd quarter in this presentation of Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8 returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, the Dr. Pepper road to the BCS championships continues with the number 2 team in the nation, Oregon, leading by a touchdown, and the number 1 team losing to Baylor. And a reminder to log on to Ford.com/Ultimate Combo for your chance to win a new 2013 F-150 with EcoBoost. Handoff into the middle of the line here on 3rd down, and they come up just a little bit short. And here comes that decision, and I don't think he'll hesitate. Here they come. Here they come. Not wanting to make a mistake. They failed on 4th down twice in that first half.
And again, Stanford's defense, after a turnover, comes up with a stop. Bailing out Kelsey Young before, this time bailing out the running back, Stephon Taylor.
Terrell is back deep for Rice's punt. Fair catch at the 24-yard line. Well, we're going to take a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Tostitos. Kansas State in deep trouble, down 45-24. Notre Dame safely in with a 38-0 rout in South Bend. If things now hold, Oregon and Notre Dame will move to 1 and 2, and the SEC will be in hot pursuit.
Western Carolina, Georgia Southern, Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State, Wofford.
Yeah, come on, SEC, schedule a 9th conference game.
Please.
That was an embarrassing slate today for the best conference in the country. 1st down and 10. Handoff now to Taylor. Stephon barges out. to the 30-yard line. And of course, while we're talking about the SEC, you know how hard they're pulling right now for Stanford tonight, for USC next week, for Oregon State next week, and then the Pac-12 championship game if the Ducks continue to win. Because the SEC is only one loss away, if things hold up down at Waco, one loss away from getting a team back into the BCS championship. So everybody hang on now. Here we go. Taylor for the Ducks. And he is short of the first down for Stanford.
We've talked so much, Brent, tonight about Stanford's defense. This Oregon defense has played very well. I mean, they're active. They've been depleted last week. Their top 5 defensive linemen didn't play. They lost Avery Patterson, the leader of their secondary, a week ago for the rest of the year. Eric Dargan has stepped up for him. They've got 5 healthy defensive backs. And so far tonight, holding Stanford to just the 7 points.
Wright is in as a running back for the Cardinal. He'll be behind Hewitt. Hewitt gets it for a first down call. Well, we want to take a look at the Pacific Life game summary, and the Cardinal made a number of miscues here tonight, Irby.
He missed out on some opportunities. This is a 4th down call with a 7-0 lead. He short arms and misses a wide open receiver. There's some turnovers as well. They had 4 turnovers last week in a game against Oregon State. They talked about how important it was at protecting the ball. 3 turnovers tonight, but even with all that being said, they're only down 1 possession.
Taylor back in as the running back for the Cardinal. Hogan going to take off. Picked up 7 yards before he dives down, and Hogan's rushed for 37 yards tonight.
Brett, not to pick on Josh Nunes, but this is what we're going to see with the growth of this offense, not just the rest of this year, but down the road with Kevin Hogan. And we saw it from Andrew Luck in the past. Everybody marvels at Andrew Luck and how cerebral he is and his arm strength. He was a great athlete playing quarterback in this system, and I think that's what Hogan provides here for this offense.
Better find someone to replace number 33. Stephon Taylor's a heck of a running back, and here he comes. Dancing to the outside. Barging and muscling to the 45. And for an update, here's Robert Flores in the studio.
All right, Brandon, it's an update and an All-America Player of the Week nominee brought to you by AT&T. Baylor running back Glasgow Martin. This is the 3rd of his touchdown runs tonight. 82 yards as Baylor continues to lead number 1 K-State. You can text VOTE to 34763. Results revealed Thursday on ESPN.
Ball at the 46-yard line, down a touchdown. Taylor again. And he picks up 2-3 yards as we check it down below with Heather Cox.
Well, Brent, you were talking about Andrew Luck. Luck actually called David Shaw on Sunday. He was in the meeting room with the offensive coaches. Shaw put him on speaker, and Andrew told the coaches that he watched Kevin Hogan the night before and felt like he was watching himself in his first year at Stanford. Noticed a lot of similarities in the way he played, as well as the plays Stanford was calling to help him succeed. And then once a coach, always a coach. David Shaw finished the conversation by reminding Luck to slide a little bit more, not put himself into harm's way.
You know, Heather, the director of the offense here, Pep Hamilton, is named in honor of Andrew Luck. The Andrew Luck Director of Offense, Pep Hamilton, and that is a position that's been endowed. There was a great fan of Stanford who wanted to honor Andrew. Andrew didn't want anything to do with it. But the offensive coordinator here is the Andrew Luck Director of Offense. And now Andrew is very proud of what they've accomplished, and I'm sure he's hoping, keeping his fingers crossed, that Pep Hamilton there in the middle can call enough plays to finish this drive off. Hogan is back, fires sideline, and sliding out for a first down. That is Ertz, the tight end.
They flex both their tight ends out. Ertz to the right, Tuilolo to the left. Got him isolated one-on-one, and he just puts this ball on the money. Ertz coming back. He throws it low and away where only Ertz can make the play on it. Good job and an advantage there in a mismatch against Terrence Mitchell, undersized, versus Ertz again at 6'6".
Coming back to Taylor. got back just beyond the original line of scrimmage. So hard for the first man to bring down Stephon, the senior from Mansfield High School, Texas. And we take a look at this comparison here tonight. And Stephon Taylor, who came in with numbers comparable to Kenyon Barner, and he continues to put up really big numbers.
They always feel like if they can get him 25 to 30 touches, they're going to be in a good position to win the football game.
Second down and 9. They're going to be looking to throw this ball. Instead, he pitches it to the outside. And again, Taylor battles his way.
Well, you better be ready. You're a young quarterback. You're on the road. Crowd's a factor. Deion Jordan, an all-conference guy, closing in on you. You better deal it and deal it fast. And there's the leg drive again from Taylor, breaking through some arm tackles and picking up valuable yards.
Here comes Jumbo. Joshua Garnett is playing right guard. Kevin Danzer was injured. Garnett is from Puyallup, Washington, a very highly rated offensive lineman. Wright is going to come in as the running back in this situation on 3rd down and 3. Pressure. They stop Wright. Not going to get there, and it will be 4th down. Interesting call not to use Taylor in that particular situation. Instead, come with the sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Again, they brought the 2 linebackers, and I agree with you, Brent. You wonder if fatigue might have been a factor. They've been using him so much on this drive because there's a big difference in that leg drive from Taylor to what you see from Wright.
So Williamson is on the field to attempt this 43-yarder. Got it away. No good. Off to the left. Drive comes up empty. With 8 minutes remaining in the football game. It appears as though the Fighting Irish will be 1 win away next week from playing for a BCS championship. That's right, as Baylor continues to pull away from Kansas State. And now the number 2 team, Barner, and if they can hang on here, they'll move to number 1. But Herbie, next week going into the Coliseum, who would have ever expected that Notre Dame would be undefeated and a win away from the BCS championship? I know I'm a little bit ahead of myself, but if the Irish win next week, if Kansas State loses, you cannot deny them a spot.
Oh, no, not at all. And something to keep an eye on, and we'll have to maybe get a report later tonight. Matt Barkley left the Rose Bowl today with his right arm injured.
No
and
question.
You wonder how serious that injury might be and how that may have an, oh yeah, of course, but how that might have an impact down the road in the game next Saturday.
But here, of course, Oregon under the gun, and the SEC hoping that a couple of these fellas fall. Mariota on the scramble. He'll throw this ball out of bounds, and here comes your 3rd down and 11 now. The Cardinal hanging in.
This is where I think DeAnthony Thomas has to grow as a receiver. Watch how he runs himself into coverage. When you're trying to just break it down, right there, settle down right there, right in the hole of the zone. If he does that, Mariota has an easy target and a 1st down. There, he just ran himself right into coverage, and Mariota didn't have anywhere to go with the football.
3rd down and 11 for Mariota and the Duck offense. Middle's clogged. He's hit. Down he goes at the 30-yard line. And the Ducks are forced to punt.
Well, these guys lead the nation in sacks for a reason. They have played remarkably well all night. Derek Mason has got to be fired up. Trent Murphy coming off the edge from one side. Chase Thomas coming on the other. They get you to 3rd down and long. They just pin their ears back and use their speed and that aggressive attitude. They got the ball back to this young freshman.
So Terrell is back. Rice punting for the Ducks. that's a beautiful punt. Drives Terrell back to the 13-yard line. And he scrambles to the 22-yard line. The Duck is all fired up. 5 minutes away from being number one.
By Windows 8. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost. Go to Ford.com/ultimate combo for a chance to win the best combo out there.
So Monday night, it will be the Chicago Bears traveling west to take on the San Francisco 49ers. And we want to send along the best wishes to Jim Harbaugh, who was out of the hospital, had a little bit of a procedure, not feeling well, back at practice before Thursday was over, I believe I read. And he'll be on the sideline, no doubt. But Jay Cutler will not be at quarterback for Chicago because of that concussion. And that was a nasty hit that threw a fine. But because of that, he will not be able to play. Jason Campbell will be the Bears quarterback. Stanford repairs for Barner on that far sideline. And now Stanford here, Herbie. They need to come alive.
Yeah, 6.5 minutes. Stay within their game plan and just continue to do what they do.
And here is Stephon Taylor. And you know, you go back to that play that they didn't get the first down, and you really wonder if you weren't right, if he maybe was winded or something and had to come out. He's such a good back in that situation.
Yeah, it was surprising. That was a bad spot by the officials. His knee was down at about the 24-yard line, and they've marked it at the 26, which Stanford will take. Chip Kelly's fired up on the other sideline talking to an official, but they missed that spot.
Second down and 6. And Hogan looks to the middle. His tight end is tied up. Has to drop off to the safety valve. Toilolo for the first down. That was very impressive by the freshman. The man he was looking for was tied up in the middle of the field, and he came back down on his read.
He sure did. And Brent, he just stayed in there. It's rare to see athletic guys who have been able to rely on athletic ability throughout their whole career to come into college football and show poise in a pocket in this kind of environment. We've seen both these guys do that tonight. That was a great play by Hogan.
So it brings up a 1st and 10 as a result from the 33-yard line. There's a handoff back to Stephon. Stephon looking for daylight. And he barges ahead for about 8 more yards. Stephon Taylor tonight, 152 yards rushing in this game. What an impressive performance by number 33. Remember, his backup, Anthony Wilkerson, didn't make the trip because of an injury.
And they have done a remarkable job of having a balanced attack for Stanford. I mean, Oregon knows Taylor's coming, but they've done enough to just try to slow down Oregon's defense.
2nd and 2, and Hogan slips, regains his balance, moves left, fires complete, first down. What a save by the quarterback, going to Zach Ertz for the first down. You believe this?
I'm watching this and I'm thinking, come on, kid, you got to throw this away. He escapes this, almost loses balance. Alonzo's in the air. I thought he was going to be down there. Then I thought he might just throw it away. Not only does he find Ertz, Brent, look at the location of the football. Up high where Ertz at 6'6" can make a play on it, keeps the play alive with his mobility, finds his go-to man Ertz, first down, and they're in Ducks territory.
At the 47-yard line. Here comes Stephon Taylor picking his way to the 43-yard line on that first down run. And let's talk about Schwartzstein, Wilkes, both Danzer and Garnett have played right guard. Cameron Fleming, David Yankee. I mean, what a performance by this offensive line.
And Ryan Hewitt, the fullback, the workhorse back there. He and Taylor are kind of just a great combination. We used to have Owen Marisak that played here and did such a good job for these guys. They always have a fullback that's just a tough guy that leads them. And they also catch the ball well in the backfield. Nice hair, too.
Yeah, I saw, Herbie, that Danzer did break the huddle, so he is back in at right guard. There was movement.
Free play here.
You got an offside. Hogan comes downfield. It is complete to Ertz, and Ertz will be out of bounds near the 20-yard line. As Herbie told you, it was a free play because the defense was offside on it, but now the Cardinal threatening.
Offside. Defense, number 96. Penalty is declined. Play results in the first down.
Brent, maximum protection. Oregon brought the house. They brought the linebackers. Stanford kept Taylor in. They kept Hewitt in. See the linebackers coming. They do a good job of giving him the time. He takes advantage of the free play and puts the ball again right on the money.
Herbie, how many people do you think are watching in Tuscaloosa?
Oh, my God.
First down and 10 now for the Cardinal. Here's a handoff to Taylor again. Taylor down the line of scrimmage, and that was another fine stop by Michael Clay. Herbie, you've talked about Clay and Alonzo, two fine linebackers.
Very active, done a good job tonight. They've been attacking downhill, and I think they've been rolling the dice a bit, trying to come down on 1st and 10. Look at them. I mean, they literally in a sprinter stance. Clay is almost at full speed by the time Taylor gets the football in his hands. That's what's made it tough on him tonight, is the penetration from the linebackers.
Second down and 10. Hogan on a short drop. Fires. Oh, baby. It was almost picked off by you-know-who. That young man, Ekpre Olumu, who's had a heck of a game for him, and he might have gone the distance, Herbie.
And they've hit this a couple times earlier. He has inside leverage. He was anticipating that the entire way, and he almost timed that up just perfectly. And because they went to the well one too many times, that time Oregon almost took it to the house.
Ertz became a pretty good defensive player in that situation with that big paw.
Knocked that baby down.
Now third down and 10 for the Cardinal.
But this time they move him to the bottom of the screen. He's isolated against Terrence Mitchell.
They bring a safety over to help if he goes in that direction. He looks at him, and he's got him again. And he looks like he's just short of a first down. That brings up a 4th down with 2:25. You got to go for it.
Got to go for it, even though they have 3 timeouts. There he's going to use one of them right now. As you were calling this, you're right. They had Mitchell right there, but there's a safety behind it. He aborts his route, comes back to the football, and Hogan isn't a dummy. Even though he's a freshman, he gets in trouble. He knows who to look up, and he finds the man, Zach Ertz, again.
BCS chaos. You can't beat it in November, folks. Coverage being provided by the MetLife blimp. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. MetLife, I can do this. All right, everybody, hang on. Here's 4th down for the Stanford Cardinal. Down a touchdown against the Oregon Ducks. Stephon Taylor not on the field. And the big fullback, Hewitt, crushes ahead for the first down. Boy, it looked like there was just a little movement on the right side.
I thought Cameron Fleming, the right tackle, Brett, may have jumped just a little bit early. And I'm with you. I love Hewitt. I think he's a heck of a player. But Taylor is a workhorse.
He's back in now.
Get him out there.
Here he is, first down and goal. The #1 team, 24, Kansas State reeling. Here we go with the #2 team back on its heels. First down and goal. They blitz Hogan, fires end zone. Ertz hangs on. Oh, my. No, they said it was down. Oh, what an effort over there by Zach Ertz. Oh, we'll take another look at this one.
Brent, I don't know if the ball ever touched the ground. Now, maybe by the time he possessed it, his back did. But did the football ever touch the ground? I don't see how it touched the ground. I mean, his helmet did.
Well, we know.
How'd you like to review this one?
We'll take another look.
When does he?
His feet are down. Doesn't have control. Now he does.
The ball never touches the ground.
But the body never touches the ground.
Right. And maybe that's what he was pointing to.
The body rolls over the top and the shoulders go down out of bounds, and that's what the back judge is signaling.
Yeah, he's saying that the back of his jersey,
now
the back of his helmet.
And watch the body.
Yep.
There's the body. All right, shoulder now.
Wow. Now it's about when does he have possession, because he's bobbling this as he comes down. So let's assume even if the right shoulder is down, when does he have the football?
What an effort. Regardless of what is ruled here.
Look at Ekpre Olumu getting his right hand in there and knock that ball away. To me, this is such a gray area. Usually the call on the field is going to stand here. I mean, there's nothing definitive that makes you say absolutely they should overturn it. Just based on what we're seeing, just because we're looking at it in slow motion. You still can't really tell when his right shoulder touches if it is inbounds. Did he have possession? What a player.
What a great, regardless of what happens tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what a great effort by Stanford. 3 touchdown underdogs, strong 3 touchdown underdog. They've come in here and they played their hearts out.
Totally agree. And this is a program that people questioned when Toby Gerhardt left and Andrew Luck stepped up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jim Harbaugh left. Well, what are they going to do now? David Shaw stepped up. Andrew Luck is left. They're back to 8 wins. You know, it's the first time this program has won 8 games 4 straight years since 1926 to 1930. When trivia question for you,
Warner.
Pop Warner. That's what they've done.
On that one, baby. That's my generation.
Exactly. Think about that. First time since 1926 to 1930. Stanford is establishing a program with David Shaw. It's impressive.
It really is. But again, well, yeah, they're establishing a great job. I don't want to talk about the Sunday football. They take care of themselves and who they're going to hire. I'm very impressed with the job that David Shaw does.
This is going to be a big call. Remember, this was 1st and 10. 1st and goal, rather. So even if it's...
You're right. They're right on the 10-yard line.
So still come back.
Goal. They've got time. I mean, they've got plays. If it doesn't... This is one of the toughest calls that I've seen instant replay have this year that we've been around a game.
Well, not only how
the
tough
importance,
the magnitude of the call, along with just it being such a gray area. Meanwhile,
the whole state of Alabama has signaled.
The whole region.
Are you kidding me?
Don't count Georgia out.
That's a tough Georgia.
The whole state of Georgia. You know how the SEC, every fan of every team claims all 14 teams.
Now,
so the whole
that
region.
ball's being moved down toward the extra point spot.
Wow.
I believe we're going to have, there's an overturn here. The ball's already been moved before the announcement.
After review, the receiver had control of the ball when he returned to the ground with his right shoulder. Touchdown.
I happen to agree with that.
Wow.
I thought the right shoulder hit the ground before he went out of bounds. And in fairness to the angle, I don't know if the official could see the right angle, but watch. Right there. I thought it went down a fraction of a second.
You can make an argument for it or against it, depending on who you're a fan
point
of.
Coming up here.
Yeah.
Pretty important right now. Jordan Williamson. On the money.
Gutsy call by the guys upstairs to turn that one over.
No question.
Gutsy. This is as gray as it gets. Let's just remember and appreciate the effort by Ertz.
Well, that
possession of the football. There you get a really good look at it.
That's a beautiful look at it.
Yeah.
There was daylight between the left shoulder and the out of bounds. Great catch by Zach Ertz.
The same time on your iPhone 5. Everything possible.
Autzen Stadium with 1.5 minutes to go, and Stanford has tied Oregon. Deadlocked at 14. DeAnthony Thomas is back deep for the Ducks. This is DeAnthony. Picks it up at the 6-yard line after bobbling it. Far side, and he'll be out of bounds. And a reminder to stay tuned for the Ford wrap-up after this game. Reminder, fans, log on to Ford.com/Ultimate Combo. Your chance to win that new 2013 F-150.
Oregon with plenty of time with the style of offense that they run. What Chip Kelly likes to do. I mean, this is their bread and butter. This is what they want.
They do not have as many yards tonight as Stanford. We should point that out. It's 408, 393. Marcus Mariota, the quarterback, and first down, looking far side and incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10 now.
He had Addison off to the right there, made the right read, and Addison just let the ball get through his hands. Ball's thrown a little bit low, but you know, every snap at this point is big for Oregon. You can't afford to drop passes. You can't afford to miss passes when you have open receivers.
Second down and 10. And Barner.
Good play by Henry Anderson again. I mean, if there's been one consistent theme, it's been that front seven. They came in, hyped up. Everybody talked about Stanford's front seven. How would they play against this Oregon team? They've held their own again tonight. The defensive lines kept the offensive line off the linebackers. They've gotten penetration. Boys are playing well up front.
You know, we should point out one thing. I mean, you know, we're looking at youngsters, and there's so much at stake. And what happens in a situation like this, as a game goes further and further along, and you're not pulling away like you're supposed to, pressure starts to build in that BCS. Kansas State ran up against it tonight down in Waco, and they haven't been able to get back on track.
What's amazing is I really think the nation doesn't really respect a team like Stanford the way they should. They might look at this and think, boy, Oregon should blow Stanford out. You know, Stanford went to South Bend and went into overtime with the Fighting Irish. It's a good football team. But you're right about the pressure.
Third down and 10 now. Mariota back. Play action. Gonna lob it down that far sideline. Incomplete. Lyerla went diving. There's a penalty flag. Drew the penalty, and that will give the Ducks a first down.
Wow, this is an interesting call. Ed Reynolds matched up with Lyerla on the right sideline. David Shaw wants to know where the contact was.
Pass interference, defense, number 29.
Brent, you know, watching it, it looked like they were hand-checking one another. Maybe he got him early. Well, they are at the top. ISO gives him a little push, hooks him there. Yeah, I mean, you could see there on the second, the right hand there locks in with his arm, but that's, you see that a lot of times let go.
First down and 10, and they fire for another first down, I believe, on that throw that time. He comes to Hawkins for the first down. They'll move the chains. 105. Alejandro, now Donato. They're starting to get loose.
Another play by Henry Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson's been a good player here tonight. Timeout is going to be called with inside of a minute to go.
As good as Oregon is, one of the areas that is not necessarily a strength is field goal kicking. Their longest kick with Maldonado is 40 yards that he hit last year. So you know, already got to get inside the 25-yard line.
You know, already we have had an upset in the Pac-12. UCLA winning the South in the Rose Bowl against USC. So the Bruins are waiting to find out who's going to win the North as Maldonado continues to warm up, and they come back for the 2nd and 8.
And I'm glad you say find out who will win the North. I think there's been so much focus on Oregon and the BCS that people overlook the fact that Stanford still controls their own destiny to try to be a team that can get to Pasadena, get to the Rose Bowl.
Doesn't Stanford play UCLA regular season next week?
Yeah, next week.
So 2nd down and 8. Mariota handed it off, and that was read just beautifully by the defense that time. Stop is made by Ben Gardner, who was all over the play, number 49.
Watch Ben Gardner get off this block. I mean, it's tough to sustain blocks against this front. Stevens, Anderson, Gardner. 49 does a good job of using his hands, fights off the block. Just the entire game, they have just held their own up front. Everybody talks about how do you stop Oregon's tempo. You got to cheat down safeties. You got to overload the box. Well, when they've gotten into trouble against LSU or against Auburn and Nick Fairley or against Ohio State that year in the Rose Bowl, they've been beaten up front at the line of scrimmage. And tonight, that's what's happened. This Stanford defensive line and these 4 linebackers have won the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Those helmets show you what kind of a battle it's been here tonight, too.
That sums up their season.
3rd down and 9. Inside of a minute. Mariota going incomplete. Went to Huff, who was falling down as he approached the end zone. Richards with coverage, and now they come down to the 4th down play.
And now you wonder, with 45 seconds to go, by the time they punt, whether it goes into the end zone or you call fair catch, maybe there's 37, 38 seconds left. With a redshirt freshman quarterback who's played for the most part pretty well, you have one timeout. Do you just kind of get to overtime, or do you try to find Zach Ertz and make a play and pick up a first down or two?
Could depend on where Terrell winds up with this punt, too. Terrell's going to hope it goes into the end zone, and it does. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. So now with 36 seconds remaining and one timeout,
interesting decision, because you got Jordan Williamson back there who's capable of hitting kids. You got the one timeout.
What would you do?
You know, what I would probably do here, I might take a chance on 1st and 10, roll them out towards Zach Ertz, see if you can get a first down, see if you can get out of bounds, see how that first attempt goes, and then I'd make a decision on what to do on that next play, depending on the success or the lack thereof.
Hogan takes a snap, hands to Taylor. Taylor swings to the right. And he'll be brought down, but there was a penalty flag.
They have a holding call here. This is a Stanford team, Brett, it's been outscored coming into this game in the second half, 59-14 against Oregon.
Now it's pretty obvious because you're backed up to the 10-yard line here.
Now they just take
you're at a first down and 20. And I think it's pretty apparent now that you certainly don't want to make a mistake down here with 15 seconds to go. You get a fresh set of downs if you go to overtime. Reset that game clock.
Take a knee
back at 27, and they are going into the victory formation to do just that. Take the knee and run this out.
I was mentioning that they've been outscored 59-14 coming into this game in the last two matchups in the second half. Imagine the confidence right now that Stanford has, being able to play the way they did, holding Oregon only 7 points in the second half, getting this thing in overtime in Autzen Stadium.
So Stanford will go to overtime for the 3rd time this season. As you look at those rules, remember, they lost that heartbreaker at Notre Dame 20-13, but they beat Arizona in overtime 54-48. Oregon, the Ducks have not even been close to an overtime this season.
And the last drive was just remarkable effort by Kevin Hogan, keeping plays alive, making some big throws. They're down by 7. He dialed up Zach Ertz a number of times to be able to get the ball down close, and then this is one tremendous effort. And if the Cardinals go on to win this game, this is going to be a play that people are going to be talking about for a long time. They've reviewed it, eventually determined that Ertz got his shoulder down before he was out of bounds to secure that touchdown and get us into overtime.
In fact, the last time that Oregon wound up in an overtime game, hurry, you got to go back to 2009. They went double overtime and defeated Arizona 44-41.
I think you and I might have been there in Tucson.
That was down in Tucson. Mike Stoops was the head coach down there. And the student body at Arizona poured onto the field prematurely.
That's right.
And had to leave.
What a great game that was.
Well, here comes the coin toss now.
Okay, fellas, before I toss the coin, we're going to have an overtime. Your choices are different in overtime, so it's important that you listen. If you win the coin toss, your choices are offense, defense, or the end of the field at which we're going to play. All right? We understand what our options are, okay? We're only going to have one coin toss. After this, every time we go between overtime periods, the choices will alternate back and forth. This will be the only coin toss, okay? Offense, defense, or end of the field. Stanford, you're the visiting team. You get to call the toss. What do you call? Okay, he's called tails. And it is tails. You want to be on defense? Which end of the field do you want to play at? Okay. If you'll step over here, Oregon. Stanford has won the toss, selected to go on defense. Oregon will put the ball in play to begin overtime.
Overtime coming up. ABC Saturday Night Football presented by Windows 8. We'll return after this word from our ABC station.
I say the same.
At 14, headed to overtime. Oregon with the ball first. Kansas State has just lost. Oregon needs a win. Notre Dame will move up, and Mariota is out of bounds, taking a little bit of a loss on the first down play here.
Yeah, they really, the defensive line, again, the penetration, fighting through double teams, good coverage downfield, and it's rare to see Marcus Mariota not in rhythm in the pocket for Chip Kelly when it comes to throwing the football. But it's been time and time again tonight. He's been flushed, nowhere to go with the ball, and he just ended up this time stepping out of bounds.
This front seven has presented so many problems here tonight. Mariota, and he's forced out of bounds. It'll be third down and long as Trent Murphy makes still another defensive play.
Here's his read, Murphy. Now watch what Murphy does. He's 6'6", 260 pounds. That's his read. He comes off of him, tries to get around him, but that gives you an idea what kind of speed Murphy has to be able to cut him off at the corner. Great play by 93.
Third and 9 in the first overtime period.
This is where Chase Thomas, 44, and Murphy can pin their ears back and get pressure.
Play action. Tosses downfield, incomplete, and it's fourth down. It is 4th and 9 for Chip Kelly.
There was major confusion on that play. They're going to have to settle, try to make a field goal here. But I don't know if Mariota and Josh Huff are on the same page. He threw the ball to the outside. Huff broke to the middle where the safety was, and a miscommunication cost him there on 3rd and 9.
Maldonado missed one earlier. Here comes a 41-yard attempt. Going to the left off the upright. No good. Wow. And now Stanford needs just a field goal to send Notre Dame to #1 and one of the SEC teams to #2.
Boy, a huge 3rd down that Oregon fans may be talking about for a while. The play action fake. Here is Huff. He gives a little shoulder fake here and goes here, and Marcus Mariota throws the ball to the outside.
Hewitt and Taylor are the running backs for Hogan. Stephon Taylor cuts right. Picks up a couple of yards before he's thrown back, and it'll be 2nd down.
Jordan Williamson, the kicker for Stanford, has not had a great year. He's 12 of 21 on the year, but capable of making it from 48.
Yeah, he hit that 48-yarder in South Bend.
David Shaw probably going to work this running game here and try to, especially on 3rd down, keep it near the middle of the field.
2nd down and 8.
They got confusion here. They're down to 12
substitution
seconds.
problem, and they finally get an 11. Now the line judge is going to step in here. A timeout has been called by Shaw.
Timeout, Stanford.
Here's some of the coaches down there saying it's okay. Stay calm.
So again, I want to go back to the headline of the night. The #1 team has just lost. Kansas State was beaten by Baylor, and Oregon in danger of losing. And if that happens, it will be Notre Dame jumping to #1 in the rankings. Maldonado had this field goal that hit the upright.
This is what makes the BCS so interesting, is every region has something at stake. Every region is watching right now because they're concerned about their own team.
So you'd have to go back to 2007. Play action. Hogan. And fumble! Loose ball, battle for the football. The officials signaling that Stanford may have recovered, and it will be third down here. I think a great save by Stanford. Herbie, was it Wilkes or one of the others?
65, the lineman came in there, and well, you had Oregon jerseys all over the football here. Look at the effort by 65. He gets in there and somehow gets the football. It bounced off of Michael Clay.
They're trying to get Jumbo on the field.
Now this is where you run the ball and you get it to the middle of the field and give your kicker Williamson a chance to win it.
Third down and 8. 5 seconds for the freshman quarterback. Got it off. Taylor cuts back, stays on the left hash, short of the first down, and Jordan Williamson will trot out.
Maybe he likes the left hash. Maybe he doesn't like the middle.
Timeout called by Chip Kelly.
Their first and only timeout of the overtime period.
So Chip Kelly will not even be able to freeze the kicker if he was thinking about it, using his timeout right now. And Jordan Williamson, a sophomore from Austin, Texas. He went to Westwood High School in Austin, will come on to see if he can not only dump Oregon out of the BCS championship picture, but elevate the Fighting Irish to #1 and put the Southeastern Conference very much back in the thick of things to wind up in Miami. Here we go. 37-yarder from the left hash. Long enough for sure and good. Stanford takes down Oregon. #1 and #2 both lose for the first time since 2007. And the Cardinals celebrate. What a remarkable performance, Herbie, by these youngsters, and I'm sure the Oregon fans are absolutely shocked at what they have seen here tonight.
I know the story nationally is going to be about Oregon losing, but what a huge win for David Shaw.
And let's go quickly to Heather Cox with the winning coach.
Brent, thanks so much, Coach. What was your reaction when the kick by Jordan Williamson went through the uprights?
You know, I was just thinking to myself, Jordan needs this. He's so talented. I mean, he makes 60-yard field goals daily. When he keeps his head down and he's smooth, he's as good as any kicker in the country. He's working on his consistency, but this is what he needed tonight. Andrew Luck famously said, "We have an Oregon problem." This is a team you guys have struggled with. How did you solve the Oregon problem? First and foremost, defense. Coach Mason had a great game plan. Our guys played extremely hard. You know, we had a quarterback that was young that still made some mistakes, but he played extremely hard. Stephon made some mistakes. He played hard. I can't say enough about Zach Ertz and our offensive line making this thing happen tonight. Coach, how important is this win to this program? It's very important because we want to say that we can beat anybody that we play. No matter what they're ranked, no matter what we're ranked. What everybody else says doesn't matter. It's all up to us. When we play our best, we can play with anybody in the country. And know what's funny? We can still get better. We can play so much better. We cut down our turnovers. This might not even be a close game. And this is a much different team than we saw a few weeks ago. How has the personality of this team changed with the quarterback change? Well, we've always been a confident bunch. We say it's all about how we play, not who we play. We don't get over or blown up about who we play. It's all about how we play. Our guys played extremely hard. Our quarterback's mobility, you saw it a couple times tonight, was huge. We got to take care of the football so much better. but our guys played with a lot of confidence. They played really well.
David, go enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Brent?
We're going to take you back to one of the plays of the year. And this was tight end Zach Ertz. Instant replay, spent several minutes looking at this over and over and over again, and they ruled correctly that the right shoulder touched the ground while he had possession of the ball, and that took it to overtime. And then it was Jordan Williamson sliding one inside the left upright. And now for the first time in the AP poll in over 300 weeks, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame are going to move to #1 and take dead aim at Miami on January 7th. But first things first, they will have to deal with USC next week in Los Angeles. And now Stanford, which wrote a remarkable story here tonight, they take dead aim at the championship of the Pac-12 South.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, first, as far as Chip Kelly and Oregon, a tough loss for them at home, especially at Autzen Stadium. But to me, the story is about David Shaw and Stanford. We talked earlier that it's the first time since 1926-30 that they've had 4 straight years of winning 8 games or more. What a remarkable way to really continue to build on that momentum.
Back we go to Heather.
Thanks so much. Joined by Kevin Hogan. Kevin, this was your first ever road start, just a freshman. How on earth did you come in here and pull out a win?
We try to play our style of football. I mean, this is a tough environment. Their fans go crazy for their team. Oregon's a great team. Their defense played well. We found a way to survive our mistakes in the end and pull it out.
How much was experience a factor? This was the 3rd time you guys have gone into overtime this season.
Yeah, we knew what we had to do. We won 1 overtime, lost the other close one, but we just knew we get the ball in there in overtime, our defense is going to make plays, and offense, try and get a touchdown always, but we trust Jordan in the end.
What was the key for you, really keeping your composure when your backs were against the wall?
Just try not to force anything, make a stupid mistake, just take what's given to me by the defense, and trust in my players around me.
Congrats on the big win, Kevin.
Herbie, some final thoughts.
I mean, it looks like he took some good notes from Andrew Luck last year. What composure, even there talking with Heather. That's a class act. Congratulations to Stanford. You talked about now Notre Dame controlling their own destiny to get to the championship. The SEC region, Alabama and Georgia, the winner of that game now also in play to get to the national championship. So who would have thought when we woke up this morning that the world of college football would be upside down yet again?
That's why we love this game
awesome.
so much.
Unreal.
Once again, our final score, Stanford wins an instant classic. 17-14 in overtime. Next week on Saturday Night Football on ABC, Notre Dame travels to Los Angeles to take on USC at 8 p.m. Eastern for a shot at a BCS championship. Thanks for watching ESPN Saturday Night Football on ABC. For Heather Cox, Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Brett Musburger. So long, everybody. Let's go to Robert Flores.